we are here to get a brief idea of the topic or the subject, the module, economy, not economics, which means there must be some difference, right? Which means there must be some difference in between Indian economy and normal economics. There is nothing called as Indian economics as such. You just have economics and you have Indian economy. So, for how many of you, economy is a difficult discipline or difficult subject to comprehend, to understand? How many of you feel that? Economy. By now, almost all of you must have had an idea of all the subjects. In yesterday's session, I'm sure sir must have covered. And you also must have done your own background research, some research. So by now, you know that this examination consists of prelims, mains, and personality test, right? So prelims, you have around 15 to 20 modules. The same will get reflected in your mains modules, right? So and I won't go to the repetitive stuff. So for how many of you, economy is a bit difficult? What? This entire group, you feel very easy? Economy is very easy? Good. If that's the case, it's good. So online guys as well, how many of you feel that, economy, or for that matter, economics, let's, use the two words synonymously as of now. Okay. So Shruti, Mariam, Jacob. Okay, yeah. Veera Reddy. Yes, Nikhil. Yes. There are very many meters there. So I like that. So have you ever wondered why? Because by now you know that there are 15 to 20 subjects, what we call as subjects or modules, right, in this examination. So for all the modules, economy stands apart, right? The minute word economy comes into your mind, economy. I don't understand that. Most of the times, for most of us, I'm also on your side, so don't worry. So I'm on the majority here. So it is. Have you ever wondered why is that so? Why is that? Apart from the rest of all the subjects that you have in this examination, it's only economy which is, which appears a bit confusing, which appears a bit difficult, which appears a bit tricky. Ever wondered? We'll find the answer for that. Why is that the case? But do not worry or do not be concerned if you feel that economy is one of the subjects where you need to have more awareness or where you need to have more knowledge compared to other subjects. That's where every one of us have started and will start. So having said that, let's move on to the session that we have assembled here. So what can you expect from this session, from this brief session today? Introduction, of course, that's what we have done until now, right? So then we look at the syllabus. When it comes to syllabus, yes, you have two levels. It's examination, that's your prelims. I'm sure you guys won't be able to see, but it's okay. If you want to shift over, you can, but it's up to you. So mains, and of course, you have personality test, what is generally known as interview, right? It's not interview, it's a personality test, but let's go with any of them. So you have, keep this aside for now. So you have two stages in this examination, and in both the stages, if you have gone through the syllabus, first of all, like those of you who haven't gone through the syllabus copy yet, after this session or once you go back, open the syllabus copy, first look at the syllabus, whatever the orientation session that you are planning to attend, first look at the syllabus. How many of you have seen the economy syllabus and came here? How many of you have gone through the economy module syllabus and are attending this session? Fine, it's good. Yeah, even I haven't checked the syllabus copy, so don't worry. So, first and foremost, that's the number one thing you have to do for any module, for any subject, for not just for this examination, for any examination that you're planning to take in the future. First of all, by heart the syllabus. That's the first step you need to do. Then, so we'll look at the syllabus in both the stages. And then comes your strategy, if there is a strategy at all. So we'll go through that. Then, placing the topic, what I call as placing the topic. In fact, most of the times, we feel any topic or any subject, we feel it difficult to answer the questions because of the fact that we do not know where and how to place the topic. Because we do not know where to place the topic and how to place the topic. We will see what I mean by placing the topic and some general do's and don'ts when it comes to economy, right? So, before going any further, I have addressed this part, right? Then microeconomics is important. Well, don't worry about what microeconomics is, but just remove this word. Economics or economy is important. Of course, yes. So there are two modules. Whenever you see a word micro, assume that there will be it always comes up with its twin, macro. So there are two parts of economy, micro and macro. So that's your entire discussions, all the topics that you're supposed to read for this examination fall in these two parts. That's it. And the very beauty of the preparation of this examination is you don't even need to know what micro and macroeconomics are. Because UPSC doesn't want you to learn about economics. Rather, it only wants you to know about economy. And which economy are we talking about? Indian economy. Whenever you think that, whenever you have that feel, all of you, whenever you get that feel that economics is different, economy is difficult, it's very tricky, I don't understand as long as we sit in the class, the entire class is so good. But once I go back, I was just speaking with one of my students this morning. So that was the same concern. That as long as we are in the class, it's very good. The minute we go home or we try to attempt a question, nothing comes up into your mind, which is very common. We'll also see why that happens. But whenever you say or you think that economy is a bit tricky, I feel economy is different, unknowingly, what you are feeling difficult is economics, not economy. So if you are trying to master economics, that's when you feel the subject as a bit difficult. Rather, if you are only focusing on the economy part, that is the Indian economy part, more or less, you will be easily able to attempt 60 to 70% of the questions with decent preparation. You don't even have to work very hard. That doesn't mean that you can chill out. Yes, of course, you can chill out. But at the same time, balanced chill out, you can attempt around 60 to 70 questions in both prelims and mains. So what we need to do for that, yes, we'll discuss about that. But always remember, differentiate the difference between or separate economics from economy. What is the difference? Economy is the application of economics. Economics is the theoretical part. Economy is the practical part. That's the only difference. And UPSC wants you to become, it doesn't want you to become an economist. It just wants you to have a fair generalistic understanding of Indian economy, not even economics. Don't worry about this, the minute the first word that comes into your brains, the minute you hear about economy is what, economics is what, demand, supply, price curve, that curve, this curve, law of demand, law of supply, everything. No, you don't have to know any of those things as of now. So first of all, leave the very thought that, okay, it's confusing, it's very difficult. It is confusing because you're focusing on economics. That is not your syllabus. That is not your syllabus. Remember that. And what is Indian economy? Thumb rule. Remember, my mentor told me this, and I always tell this. What is Indian economy? Whatever the government does within the aspects, within the bounds of economy, that is Indian economy. In fact, what's the syllabus of this examination? Whatever the government does is your syllabus. That's another confusion or question that you have. So what to read? There are so many things. Where to draw the line? Thumb rule is check if that particular topic or that particular aspect that you are reading is done by the government. Whatever the government does is part of your syllabus. Whatever the government is not doing is not part of your syllabus. That's the test. Do that. Try to do that. It will be very easy. So you don't do anything as of now. There's a lot of time for you to do things for yourself. So that's why we are here. Then this is another thing, right? Most of the times, if you don't understand something and if you have to take up the examination, what's the first thing that we do? Mug up. Come on, mug up. So if we want to 1%, 1%, done. Unfortunately, I'm not saying this because of economy being my module, but you can't mug up economy. That's the problem. Maybe you can mug up some other modules like S&T. With all due respect to S&T, yes, S&T can be mugged up. Or, polity, it can be mugged up. You can mug up articles, you have to mug up. Of course, there are other aspects of the subject which you can't mug up. But the problem with economy is you can't mug up. Because most of the times there will be interconnecting questions where two to three concepts will be interconnected, intertwined, and they will be asking just one question. In fact, that's how most of the questions are in this year's examination. So if we don't understand something, we are tuned like that because of the way of our education system, the way you have done your bachelor's. Mug up, that's it. Mug it up just before the examination. Unfortunately, that's not going to work for economy. If you're not mugging up, if you can't mug up, what's the solution then? Conceptual clarity. Conceptual understanding or conceptual clarity. Good afternoon, Akhil. Conceptual clarity or conceptual understanding, right? So this is our nemesis. This is our enemy. Mugging up is our enemy. We can't mug it up in this module. Yes, there are some 5 to 10% of the facts which we can mug up, but unfortunately, UPSC never focuses on facts. That's another positive thing for you. Because understanding, trust me, understanding the concepts is easier than mugging up and remembering hard data. If you understand the concept, you don't have to forget it. You can't forget it again. And finally, this is again another myth associated with economy, that you don't have to read newspapers. How many of you have the habit of reading newspapers? Online guys as well. How many of you are having the habit of reading newspaper? Already, by now. Okay. Anything, it's okay. Even if you are reading Metro Plus, or if you are reading the page 3 section, or if it's a Telugu newspaper, Vasundhara, or whatever, Champion, sports section, but something. So, and most of the times, like there is this common refrain that appears, that you hear, that it's no need, there is no need of reading newspaper. Anyway, there will be some magazine, current affairs magazine in the market where they'll compile all the details. So once a month, buy it for 1 week, mug it up, read it, done for the week or done for the month. Unfortunately, that's not going to work. Newspaper is the Bible. Some of you will be thinking, okay, what's the Bible for this subject? Just like for polity, you have Lakshmikanta's Bible, right? So for this subject and for this examination, unfortunately, newspaper is the Bible. So you have to learn the trick of reading newspapers. There is no substitute for that. And remember another thing, if there are 1,000 vacancies in this examination, there are 1,000 ways of clearing this examination. Means there is no one particular strategy that can be employed. You need to find out the strategy that works for you. Just because some topper or some person, if some strategy has worked for some person, there is no guarantee it might work. There is no guarantee that it will work for you as well. So in the initial days, that's what you have to do by trial and error method. What strategy best suits you? Trust me, you don't know about yourself yet. This examination will hold a mirror in front of you. It will even show you this preparation. Forget about the result. Yes, all of you, I wish all of you should clear, that you should go successfully on the other side. But point is, this preparation, this entire journey will change you as a person, as an individual as well. If you are that kind of a person where, who improves upon yourself. So focus on that, focus on the journey. And if you are doing the least number of mistakes, this examination is very easy to clear. This examination is not about doing the most number of correct things. It is whoever is doing the least number of mistakes. Talk to any topper, talk to rank 1 person also. He or she will tell you that they have done the least number of mistakes. Because the nature of this examination is like that. Every module. Because it's impossible to remove your errors, your mistakes. So try doing the things properly with least number of mistakes, improving daily improvement or monthly retrospection and introspection. Half of the job is done. So point being that these magazine shortcuts won't work, particularly for economy. Right? So these are some of the myths. And another myth is that economy is very easy. See, I'm just showing you one side of the debate. There can be other people who think that economy is very easy. It's very highly scoring, just like how you have maths in your bachelor's or in your school. Economy is also the math kind of subject in civils, which is true. Because you can score maximum marks in here, economy. So but that is also a myth. So myths are always on both the extremes. I have just given you one extreme. So just understand, just visualize the opposite of each statement. Even those myths will not work. What you need is somewhere in between. You need to stay somewhere in between, always. So these are some of the common myths of the module. Then problems. We'll get back to problems later on. Yeah, we'll look at the syllabus first. Kannada sir, Prajavani. Acha. Veera Reddy. Acha, in Kannada, it's Prajavani. Okay. No, I was only talking about, I'm not talking about the name of the newspaper, rather the movie section of the newspaper, which covers the movie-related news. You know, which heroine had a son or a daughter recently. You know, unfortunately, those are the kind of news that attract our attention, first of all, right? Now, fortunately, there is nothing unfortunate in there. It's okay. Who is the latest kid of the Bollywood or Tollywood? Latest entrant kid. Come on, I'm sure some of you will know. Latest newborn kid of the Bollywood. Don't you guys watch movies? Who? Yes, that's correct. Of course, even I read such news. Anyway, so yes, she was talking about Kajal Agarwal, I guess. So she had given birth to a baby boy. Yeah, I know. Shivraj Singh, Kajal, Pranita, good. See, that's what keeping up with current affairs is. Just, you should focus, you should just deviate a bit towards economic related current affairs. That's it. How much did RBI increase the interest rate recently? No, it's just a ridiculous question. So you need to also focus on those type of news. Anyways, jokes apart, let's get back to the syllabus of this examination. So you have prelims anyway. So you have prelims. Prelims, one of the subjects, one of the module is economy. And when it comes to mains, it's your GS paper 3, which focuses on the economy module, number 1. Second, your entire GS paper 3 is not about economy. So that's a good news for you. Rather, there is only one module out of 5 modules. So there are 5 subjects in your GS paper 3. Of the 5 subjects, economic development or economy is just one module, which will do the trick, right? So this is the good news that there are 4 other subjects in the same paper. So I will focus on those 4 other subjects rather than just, I'll just go for the basic easy questions, easy topics of economy. UPSC knows that you guys are going to do it. That's the reason I'm just giving you the format of the paper. The paper consists of 20 questions, right? So unfortunately, UPSC also knows the trick. Even though there are 5 modules, they'll give you at least 9 to 11 questions from economy or 8 to 10 questions. 8 to 10 questions from the economy section. So which makes up around 40 to 60%. It varies. So the trick, the myth, I can mug up. I'll just ignore economy and I'll just focus on other modules. So it will do the trick. It might do the trick for prelims. I'm not saying it won't work because there are many factors which work at prelims. But when it comes to mains, it's not something which you can do. If you want to top the examination, if you want to see your name in the list, there is no way that we can ignore around 8 to 10 questions and still clear the examination, right? So I'm not trying to intimidate you or scare you away. The point is, this is a very high scoring module. So of all the 4 to 5 big modules that you have, polity, geography, history, and economy, this also should be given equal attention and equal time by the aspirants. So that's the point. So now let's drill down a bit and look at the syllabus. Just look at the prelims syllabus: economic and social development, sustainable development, poverty, inclusion, demographics, social sector initiatives, etc. It doesn't make any sense. Trust me. What are they trying to do? Economic and social development, economic development, social development, sustainable development. The same development, 3 types of development. If you just read those 3 types of developments, will we be able to do justice to the subject or solve the questions in the examination? Of course not. It's just a brief idea of the kind of topics that you should focus on. Rather, you should further go into each one of them. So these are just the keywords that you need to focus upon. But what exactly the subject entails, or what the examiner or UPSC expects from you, is something different. And that something different is not completely difficult or some completely out of the world. These are some 10 basic things. Then look at the main. Just go through them. I don't want you to just apply your brain. Just go through the topics. Just focus on this: Indian economy, inclusive growth, budgeting, crops and cropping patterns, subsidies, poverty alleviation, food processing, land reforms, liberalization, infrastructure, and investment. So there are around 5 to 6 or 7 to 8 subtopics that are mentioned in your main syllabus. Again, where will you start? Where will you end? So why did UPSC give it like this? Because it is trying to give you the pointers. It is trying to give you the headers. You take a particular header, you go further into that particular topic, you place the topic. So if there is certain question, let's say inflation, there have been around 3 to 4 questions on inflation in this year's prelims. Where is the word inflation in here? Most of the times, like, you will have that question, hey, what are we discussing? We are discussing many things out of the syllabus. It is not discussing out of the syllabus. Rather, what we are doing is, we are, let's say, like tomorrow you have started inflation. So what you are trying to do is, you are trying to read inflation in the context of economic development. In the context of economic development. In the context of poverty. In the context of social sector initiatives, or social sector initiatives are nothing but some schemes. So a particular topic, you need to know where to place it in the larger scheme of things. So to understand that, if you're just looking at this at the syllabus, it will be initially very difficult to understand, or it will be difficult to place the topic for you. For that very purpose, what you need is to have a bird's eye view. Generally, you call it as a bird's eye view, right? And the problem is also that you will have that confusion most of the times, that what to read for economy, how to read for economy. That's because you don't have that bird's eye view. So first, focus on the bird's eye view. First of all, tell me, what is economy? Or why you should know about economy? Not you as an aspirant, but usually. Generally speaking, what is it that comes to your mind when you hear the word economy or economics? Don't use key. Don't use, again, you are using very big words. I don't know what that means. Money, right? Economy is synonymous with money. Everything in economy revolves around money, right? The big words that you are using, growth of the economy, national income, or some other words that you are using, what are they revolving around? Money. So, and don't use the big word again. You have somebody use GDP. No, I don't know what GDP means. Rather, it's always about money. And always remember, when you are reading a concept in economy, just try to understand, try to apply the logic in your own household. The way a household, the way a family works is the way the country works. Is the way a country works. Everything. So, let's start from your family. What's the basis of any family to work? If a family has to sustain, if a family has to work, if it has to survive, what's the basis? Money. Money, right? So money. Where is this money coming from? Of course, some kind of employment, right? You have to do some kind of employment, some kind of work. And what will you do in your employment? You or your father, your parents, what are they doing? No, inside the job. They are working, right? And what are they doing? Any kind of work involves what? Producing something. Right now here we are producing a service. This is also a work. This is also an economic activity right now. So likewise, every job requires something to be produced or production. This production is nothing but your money that you are earning. Can I say that the money that we earn is proportional to the amount of a good or service that we are producing right now here. We are trying to produce some service here. The better we produce or I produce, the better will be the monetary aspect. Isn't that the case? So if it is not, then the opposite will happen. So this production is what is resulting into money. So we can quantify the production process, right? Any production process can be quantified. What do you mean by quantification? Numbers. Expressing something in numbers is quantification. So this quantification can be done. Okay, you have produced 100 rupees worth of stuff today. You have worked for 100 rupees today. All our goods and services, I know I'm using a bit difficult words, but don't worry, you'll understand that, right? So this is the case when you have a job, right? What is the opposite of not having employment? Unemployment. Which most of you, as of now, if you have done your bachelor's, so you are in this stage, right? Most of you. So what will happen if you have unemployment? If you have no job, what will be the outcome? No production, okay. No money, yes. If there is no money, poverty. That's what I want. So if there is no production, unless you are in the uniform services, okay, the phone is not from the class. Is it from the class? It is from the class. So no production or no work, hence no money, which generally leads to poverty, right? So as of now, practically you are not experiencing it. But if you have done your bachelor's and if you are not trying to produce anything, rather if you are only consuming, then you are in this. Take a couple of seconds, put your phones in silent. Unless you are in uniform services, I don't allow your phones to make any sounds. Uniform services are okay, I can understand that. I'm sure no one is here yet in uniform services. What are uniform services? Police, fire, doctors. Yes, we have one doctor, but yeah, I think she has taken a break. What kind of a doctor are you? Graduation, okay. Asha, did you give your NEET recently? Yeah. Okay. So you are waiting for your post-graduation. You want to pursue your post-graduation. Acha, you shifted. Okay. Okay, anyhow. So what is happening right now? So right now you are in the situation, right, where you don't have any employment. So you are, in a way, you are experiencing poverty, but someone is making sure that you are not experiencing poverty. Who is that someone? Parents. Who is the parent of a country? Who is the parent of a country? Government. Government is like the, what did I say? Just use your family's logic and apply it to the country. Or take the country's logic, apply it to the family. So what is your family, your parents, what are they doing? How are they making you not to experience poverty, even though you do not have a job right now? They are giving you pocket money. They are providing you with some kind of support. Financial assistance, exactly. If it is your parents who are providing that, when it comes to the country, it will be the state or government. So any government of India scheme that they run, why are they running it? To fight poverty, to help the poor people. It's not just for the sake of running a scheme. It's not for the rich. 95% of the schemes are some kind of support mechanisms for the people who are experiencing poverty. Right? Then, that's a debate for another day. All that you'll read in your polity module. Because we are not talking about the administration of the schemes, rather we are only talking about the policy making of the economics. So yeah. On one hand, you have employment, you are producing, you are quantifying. On the other hand, if you don't have a job, you are experiencing poverty for which you have some kind of financial support, right? Then let's come to, again, this side of the conversation. So you are producing, money is being generated, right? So where are you keeping this money? You are keeping this money, everyone, whoever the person that's giving money to you or the person who is taking money, where are they keeping it? You are keeping it in banks, right? And what's the primary purpose of banks? Lending. Other than that? Savings, right? Savings and lendings. What are you using? I'm sure almost all of you have bank account, right? So what are you using the bank accounts for? Savings as well. Savings, and the banks give the same money for the credit purpose, right? So lending, or you also call this as credit, right? Then with general knowledge, there should be someone, just like how your parents are controlling you, just like how the government controls the entire country, there should be some regulatory body or some controlling body for each sector. So you should also have someone to regulate the bank. Who is regulating the banks? RBI, right? See, economy is so simple. You don't even know anything about economy. You did not attend a single class. I'm sure the last time you read economy was in your school. See, you are getting the answers. It's very simple, trust me. So you have RBI. RBI overlooks the banking sector and other financial aspects as well. Right? Then come to this side. Where were we on this side of the debate? Meaning in terms of unemployment, poverty, government, right? So you are having the government which is running. What is the government running? I am breaking down the syllabus. You'll understand the syllabus finally. So give me the answer. What is the government running? What is the government? Your parents. What are your parents doing for you? Financial support. Government is giving you financial support, right? Distribution, efficient management of resources. Yes, yes. Government is providing you schemes. Okay, fine. I won't use the word government. Your parents, they are giving you financial support. They are giving you pocket money, that money, this money, party money, right? So your family should get money from somewhere, right? How are they getting it? From the employment of your parents. So every month, what is your family doing? Your parents, don't they just sit back and look at the total income of the family? Then they first look at, okay, these are the incomes that we need to get. And they also plan for expenditure, right? Okay, this is the house rent, this is the food expenditure, this is educational expenditure, this is the party expenditure for our kids. So what are they doing? They are planning the income, means the incoming money and also the outgoing money, right? Every family does that. Have you ever observed? They don't just sit idle and like the minute the expenditure comes, they don't think about it. They first think about the expenditures. So they are looking at income, they are looking at expenditure. Let's say there is a mismatch, and most certain there will be mismatch, right? So the family, your parents are looking at your incomes, your expenditures. Yeah, if there are savings, there are savings. But most of the times, what is happening? There is a mismatch in between income and expenditure. Are we just postponing our expenditure? Is your family postponing your expenditure? Are you postponing your restaurant visit or movie visit? Of course not. Your expenditures are there. You can't postpone them. But your incomes are not there. What is your family? What is your father doing? Father or mother? What are they doing when the salaries are less than their expenditures? Borrowing loans. Haven't you ever looked at the way the family is running? At least go back today. If you haven't seen the way family is running, go back today, just sit with them, talk with them. Financial literacy is very important. That's a basic thing, right? If your incomes, if the family's incomes are not in line with your expenditure, what are they doing? They are borrowing. I'm sure every family here will have a house loan at least. Will have a vehicle loan, some personal loan, this is the kind of loans. What are they? Borrowings. So what is the family doing here? The household, they are looking at the finances. They are doing a financial planning for the entire month. Sometimes you do it for the entire year. The same way, and after financial planning, what are they going to? They are going for debt. When the incomes are not equal to expenditure, when the expenditures are more than the incomes. The same way, the government will also have to plan, right? Because it has to spend. Government also has those kids. All the poor people are the kids of the government. So the government has to spend. Government can't say that, no, I can't spend. There is no money. So the government first will sit and it will just look at the money that I'm getting. Then it will look at its kids, all the orphan kids, not in literal sense, all the poor. And of course the rich. I'm not just saying the poor are the kids of government. All the entire population is are the kids of the government. So the government looks at expenditures. Most of the expenditure is in terms of the schemes that we have just now seen. So, and just like a family, the government will also have a shortfall for which again they'll go for debt. They'll go for borrowing, right? And what is the source of, like for a family, the source of money, source of income is some kind of job or business, right? Likewise, what is the source of money for the government? Taxes. Yes, very good. Taxes. Then expenditure. Anyways, expenditure is the same. And when there is a mismatch here, that's where you will go for debt. When a household, when your family is doing these things, you call that as private finance. Private finance. When the government is doing that, you will call it as public finance. Everything the government does is public, right? So you call this as public finance. You call that as public finance. And where is the government telling you? Because say family is a private affair. So you don't have to tell to anyone about your finances. But when it comes to the government can't keep things in secret. It has to clearly show its income, that is taxes. It has to show its expenditure, and it also has to show its borrowing. And where is the government showing that thing for us? Budget. Budget. So what will a budget consist of? It will consist of incomes, expenditures, and borrowings. That's it, which also is known as the public finance. And finally, every time, like, most of you, you must have seen your friends as well. Once they have completed their graduation, and it must have already happened with your siblings, your elder siblings, brothers or sisters. So after graduation, what are the opportunities that are available for students like you in India? After graduation, what were the plans that you have thought of, apart from civils? Going for higher education, going for masters, going for a job, going for civils. And most of the times it is no higher education, masters in abroad, right? So then again, whenever you are talking about development, whenever you're talking about development of the country, or whenever you're talking about India growing, what are we talking about? We are doing a comparison with, are we trying to compare ourselves with US, or are we trying to compare ourselves with Pakistan or Sri Lanka? Yes, that is also happened. That's a different thing. But most of the times, whenever you're talking about money aspects, you look at someone who is above you, right? So whenever you're talking about development, going abroad, earning some money, looking at exporting goods from India to the countries, other countries. So all this is made possible because of what? Because of globalization, right? Today we are talking about all this, you go out and eat in these restaurants, in these fancy restaurants, McD, that D, this D, KFC, BFC. So all these things, how are they made possible? Earlier, they weren't there in India. How are they made possible? Because of globalization, which means India is also related to the rest of the world. Right now, what is happening? Look at COVID. It started in one country, it spread to the entire country. Right now, US economy is not going to do better. That's why markets or economy across the world are collapsing. I don't know if you have followed it or not, but at least you must have heard, hey, markets are collapsing. There is going to be that. There's no job loss, that. There's these words. People will be saying around you. They'll start saying by now. They'll say for the next 1 year. Watch out for those words. So we were so concerned about who the US president was going to be, right? When the elections happened, we were talking about who are the two people who contested in US elections? Joe Biden and Donald Trump, right? So you know about the politics of US as well. How was that made possible? Because of globalization. And why are you doing that? Because India's interests are also aligned with the rest of the world. Which means India, whether it's going to develop or not, whether it's going to produce more and more goods or not, whether it's going to create more and more money or not, everything is also dependent upon the rest of the world. I'll give you the same example too. Family, right? There's a family of 4, so most of you must be a family of 4 or 5. Will you thrive when you are put in a city like Hyderabad or Delhi, or will your family thrive in all sense, economic sense, educational sense, health-wise? If I just take your entire family and put in a rural village somewhere, somewhere in Chhattisgarh, the interiors of Chhattisgarh forests or northeastern, you want to join? Okay. So northeastern forests, will you be able to thrive? Of course not. So, or let's say that the city in which you are residing, there are so many communal riots, there are so many, the people around the family, your housing locality are very poor, and there are always some kind of social strife, riots, robberies that happen. Will you be able to grow? Even if you grow, will you be able to have a peace of mind? Will you be able to grow in a way that you wanted to grow? Will you be able to live in a way that you want to live? Of course not. Which means your well-being is also dependent upon the surrounding well-being, right? The same way, India, if it has to grow, if it has to thrive, it is also dependent upon the rest of the world's health, economic health. Hence, we are very concerned about the trade aspects, the bilateral trade that we do. Whatever we are sending to US or sending to China or sending to importing from other country, we are more concerned about this as well. Because if the rest of the world is good, they'll take more and more goods from us, more and more services. As no, most of you, some of you, or some of your cousins, friends, siblings, they must be working in software industry, right? And who are the clients of our software companies? Most of our software companies' clients, who are they? They are European companies or US companies, the Fortune 500 companies also. If those companies are not doing well, who will give the projects to our Indian companies? No one will give. So if it's not like, like, hey, we are very good. We can, we can serve ourselves. We don't need anybody else. India is Nirbhar. India will become Nirbhar only when the rest of the world is also Nirbhar. Meaning, we should also be concerned about the trade-related aspects, which is nothing but your foreign trade. Which is nothing but your foreign trade. Why did I discuss this entire story? Because I was discussing the syllabus with you. Let's get back now. We were talking about, we started our discussion with money, right? So leave that aside. Here we have used a word called as quantification, right? Expressing something in numbers. Expressing something in numbers is called as quantification. So this quantification is nothing but the keywords that are used in your syllabus, national income. The first topic of your syllabus. Then, the second topic. If you have job, you have employment, you thrive, you earn money. If you do not have jobs, it invariably leads to poverty. So, your second topic is poverty and employment. Then, we said, if you do not have job, you can't earn money. And if you have job, you earn money. And all the money related aspects are revolving around banks or your RBI and the banking sector. RBI and banking sector. That's your third topic. Then you need to know about how the government is operating, because it can't be operated in a clandestine manner or in a secret manner. So everything should be open, which is your fourth topic. That's your public finance or budget or tax. Everything comes under the public finance only. Taxation, budget, expenditure, receipts, capital expenditure, this and that. So that's your third topic. That's your fourth topic. That is public finance. Then we also said that India is not alone. So if India has to thrive, we also need to be worried about what is happening in the rest of the countries, rest of the world, which is nothing but your globalization. Globalization is a general word. The economic adoption of globalization is nothing but liberalization. LPG reforms, what you generally call as LPG reforms, which is your fifth topic. As part of your liberalization, you also study about foreign trade. So 5 topics. These are the 5 topics that you are going to study. If you can understand, if you can read the 5 topics, everything is easier. You don't have to read anything else. Just read these 5 topics. That's it. National income, poverty and unemployment, public finance or RBI and banking sector, public finance and foreign trade or liberalization. Your entire economy boils down to these 5 topics. That's it. Of course, when you are quantifying, what will you quantify? The work that you are doing, right? The work that is being done is what is called as quantification. And where are all of our jobs? Where are we doing? All the type of jobs, kind of jobs that we do can be classified into 3 types of economic activities. Agriculture, industries and services sector. Doctors, they come under services sector. An industrialist who goes, these blue collar workers, they come under industrial sector. And agriculture is agriculture, you know what that is. So under the quantification or your national income, you also read about how work is being done in agriculture, industries and the services sector. Just like how under public finance, you read about taxation, expenditure and all that. That is economy for you. That's it. focus on these 5 topics. So first you need to know these 5 topics and all the subtopics that come under each of these 5 topics. I was talking about placing the topic, right? I was talking about something called as placing the topic. What is that placing the topic? A particular question that comes up in your examination, you should be able to place it. You should be able to place it in the one of these 5 topics. Any question that comes up, you should be able to place in one of those 5 topics. That's it. If you are able to do that, half of the job is done. Meaning the question, any question that comes up, for example, these are the questions that have appeared in this year's exam. So ignore this question. This is one question which has come up. Don't try to answer. It doesn't make any sense. It won't make any sense for any one of you. Even for me, it won't make any sense. But by looking at the topic, okay, they are talking about something called as indirect transfers. That's the word. Indirect transfers. After finishing your classes, or at least after finishing the respective topic of the syllabus, when you look at the question, you should be able to understand. You should be able to place this, because nowhere in the paper, nowhere in the syllabus copy will this topic be mentioned. You should be able to understand. Place the topic in one of the subtopics called as taxation. Under taxation, you'll have something called as retrospective taxation. Under retrospective taxation, there is something called as this indirect transfer. That is placing the topic. And when will you be able to do that? When you do things in a systematic way. And who is going to help you in doing those systematic things? We here. We the people. Where is we the people? Where does we people come? Preamble. Yeah, so we the people. So to cut short the entire story, economy is always about these 5 topics. Don't worry about any other things. Like, yeah, there are pillars, there are structures, there are beams, there are basements for economy. The terminology that someone uses doesn't matter. What matters is the content. So call it by any name, but the discussion has to come up and end with respect to one of these 5 topics. That's it. So having seen about the breakup of the syllabus, so yeah, I can proudly say that yes, there are 22 questions which have appeared in this PS prelims examination. Even I was pleasantly surprised, because the number of questions did not increase. They were all around 15 to 18, but 22 is almost 1/4 of the paper. There will be 100 questions in prelims. So 1/4 of the paper is from economy. So it's good. They should go for 25 next year. But why am I saying that? Because understand the importance of the subject. So there is no way we can survive in this examination by ignoring the module. No, I'm not exaggerating. 22 questions were there in this year's prelims. Everyone was very shocked, actually. Yes, UPSC is known for surprises. But all the questions were from current affairs, from the concepts, certain, mugged up questions as well. So if you look at the pattern, but 15 questions are given any year, 15 to 20. You can always expect that. Then, types of questions. That's after reading, after completion of the course or completion of the subject. For any module, the first thing that you should do is, the exercise that you have to carry out is expecting the questions. No, reading topic is not, anyone can do it. Just pick up a newspaper, read a topic on inflation or some kind of interest rates or inflation or growth. But the point is, you need to anticipate the kind of questions that they are going to ask. They won't ask you anything, everything under the sky. They'll only ask you specific things. And every topic will have around 4 to 5 points, key points. I always call, I generally call it as rule of 5. 5 is my favorite number. So break down the topic into 5 main big topics. Each topic will again have 5 subtopics. Each topic, subtopic will have 5 important dimensions from which the questions appear. Likewise, when you are attempting mains answer, 5 points are enough. You won't have time, you won't have space to write more than 5 points. So I call it as the rule of 5. 5 points are what you need to remember for every topic, for every subject. That's enough. So every topic will have 5 dimensions from which the questions appear. You must have already done that. Most of you have prepared for aptitude, right? Your RS Agarwal, or there are many topics, time and distance, time and work. What are you doing there? You are going for modals and time and work, right? When you are preparing for your aptitude, what? Haven't you prepared? Time and distance. Yes, in school, 7th, 8th class school. Anyway, you will read. Don't worry. This exam will make you do everything that you haven't done until now. You will also have to do this CSAT for your paper 2. You have to do these sums or problems. So modals, what you call as modals outside this examination are nothing but the dimensions. So if there is a topic called as inflation, there will be 4 or 5 dimensions in which the questions will invariably appear. What you need to remember are those 5 dimensions. That's it. Focus on the way questions are being framed. Then, after focusing that, we'll just break down like this. So if you look at the questions that were asked in economy, first and foremost is keyword based. What's a keyword? In fact, this question, this indirect transfer, it's a keyword based question. It's not a generic word. You use this word in a specific context. Likewise, rapid financing instrument, rapid credit facility, these are keywords. You don't have to know what that exactly means for this question. This is a factual question. They are just asking you, what are these words that come up in news regularly? Who uses them? Of course, the answer for that is IMF. It's immaterial for us for now. But those are 2 windows by which IMF gives money to countries. It was in news because COVID was there. Many countries were not able to honor their commitments. I'm sure you must have heard something was happening in Sri Lanka. Have you heard? Most of you must have heard that something was happening in Sri Lanka. And I'm sure you don't know what exactly was happening, but something was happening. That Sri Lanka was facing some kind of crisis. That's when IMF comes and gives these things for countries. It was pretty much in news. During COVID, countries were not able to generate resources, but they have expenditures just like a family. The income was not there, expenditure was there, so they had to borrow. Where did they borrow from? Under these things. It was in news. Likewise, keyword based. This was also in news from the past 10 years actually. It was not a new topic. Just that the newspapers after a point of time also, they stopped covering things. Because you won't read every day, right? If the newspapers are just giving the same thing every day, you will stop reading the newspaper. So that's why they just push the topic out of the paper and they bring some new topic. But this was in news continuously for the past 10 years actually. It's a tax related issue. How the government is taxing the MNCs. Every year it will be in news. So, let's get back. First and foremost, keyword based. Keyword based questions are the easiest of the lot. Because all you need to do is know the context in which the keyword is used. That's it. So you can expect easily around 4 to 5 or 5 to 7 keyword based questions. And they are the easiest of all. Then second, concept based. Concept based. What is national income? What is income? Quantification of what your services, the goods that you have provided or the services that you have provided. That is income. When you are doing it for the entire country, that is nation's income. If you are doing it for me, it's my personal income. If you are doing it for a firm, it's private income. When you are doing it for a country, it's national income. That's it. Of course, nation is not an entity, right? Nation is not a human being who can go and work. All of us, if whatever we are working and producing, convert it into money form, add that up, that is national income. It's a concept-based question. So second one is concepts. As I said, there are 5 topics. Each one of them will have 5 subtopics. So there will be around 25 subtopics altogether in economy. Each 25 of them again will have 5 concepts. So 125 concepts. I'm not intimidating you. They won't be 125, but they can be 100, they can be 75. It depends on how you look at it. But concepts. Everything is a concept, right? So the second type of questions are concept-based questions. If you understand the concept, the logic, it's very easy to answer it. Then third one, interlinking of concepts, of course. They will be taking up 2 or 3 concepts. They'll ask you, what makes the RBI to go for poverty control or inflation control? I'll rephrase the question. How can the government balance employment aspects, prospects, and also reduce poverty while giving high incomes to the people? So they are talking about employment, they are talking about poverty, and they're also talking about incomes of the people. Interlinking of concepts. Or they can ask you, how can the Indian government focus on growth, employment, poverty, while also focusing on what is happening in US economy? While looking at what US government is doing, how can Indian government focus on Indian economy? I'm not making it up. It was asked this year. In this year prelims, that was the question. What will happen when US government and US central bank take some steps? It was asked. So interlinking of what is happening in US economy. See, they just try to confuse you. The words are confusing, but economics is economics everywhere in the world. There is nothing called as Indian economics. There is nothing called as US economics. The principle works the same, either here or in US. So just interlinking the concepts. Yeah, these are moderately difficult questions. Then cause, effect, consequences based. Impact. What will happen? Most of the times in life, you have to know about the impact of things. Why are things being caused and what impact will they have? In fact, as prospective future civil servant, that's what you are going to do. Everything you have to find, why is something happening and what will be the impact and how I should increase the impact or decrease the impact. If it is good impact, you'll increase it. If it's bad impact, you'll stop it, you'll curb it. So every concept will have causes, will have consequences. So cause and consequence based questions, impact, that's it. All you have to learn is what is the impact, what is the impact. So these type of questions are also asked often. Then current affairs based. Purely current affairs, event-based questions are not being asked, but there was something called as G20 financing agreement. This was an outcome of the G20 summit, which was held. So it's not purely related to economics. But what is a G20? It's an international group which is concerned about the world economies, the 20 top economies. India is also part of that international grouping. So they only meet every year. They talk about how to increase our economies. So indirectly related to economy, but it was purely a current affairs event-based question. So there will be 1 or 2 questions every year like that. Then finally, you have schemes-based questions. Because economy is all about the schemes that the government is running. There are many schemes for people like you also. Don't have money, Jan Dhan Yojana is there. You can go and open it. So this year, yes, there were again 2 questions. The scheme-related questions. Schemes-related questions are also easy because you have to know about the scheme name and what the scheme is going to do. If you know it, you will answer. If you do not know it, you won't answer. So these are the 4 or 5 types of questions. So these were the 2 questions actually. Directly scheme-related. Banks Board Bureau. There was a question from banking sector. Banks Board Bureau. A factual question. Then there was also a question on Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. So most of you must have heard about Ayushman Bharat, right? No? Health insurance scheme. It's a health insurance scheme. So these are the type of questions that are asked. Again, any question should come and sit in those 5 topics. That's it. This question is from schemes, poverty alleviation programs of the government. This question is from the banking sector. Inflation questions, those 3 questions on inflation are from banking, money and banking sector, RBI and banking, the 4th topic. So everything will come and adjust in those 5 topics. That is, you should master that. That's what economy is all about. Placing the topic. And finally, yeah, questions we have seen. Strategy. So yeah, that's the favorite word of aspirants, right? What is the strategy? Give us strategy. Give us strategy. So what strategy? Frankly speaking, there is no one strategy. As I said, thousands vacancies, 1,000 strategies for clearing the examination. Same goes with the individual modules as well. But there are certain key things that you can focus upon to make the subject more easier, to make the understanding of the subject easier. So what are they? First and foremost, syllabus and previous year questions. As I said, the first thing, yes, your classes will start after a while, maybe after 1 week or so. But the first thing that you need to do is go and buy the previous year questions books. They are available in the market. And I'll ask you not to buy the ones where the answers are readily provided. At least make sure that the answers are toward the end of the book, not right immediately at the next to the question, because you won't think. So first buy, and this applies for both prelims and mains. Buy them. It's okay. Your parents are in a position, they will be very happy. If you say that, give me some money, I want to buy a book, they will, cry out of happiness, out of joy. If you are spending money to buy a book. So don't think it's a waste of money. Yes, it's the first thing, do this. Go buy the previous year questions of both prelims and mains. Preferably, the answers should be at the end of the book so that you can think a bit. Or else you'll just look at the answer. The problem is, once you look at the answer, your brain starts thinking along the direction of the answer. You won't think other angles. So previous year questions. And of course, syllabus. Then second is, just like how newspaper is a holy Bible for the examination, same goes with NCERTs as well. So you can start with, to make an understanding of the subject, start with NCERTs. You can start from 7th or 6th or 7th. You can just finish each one of them in 1 or 2 hours actually. So start reading them. You will understand the keywords that are coming in the newspapers, that will be appearing in the newspapers. Then, NCERTs, along with NCERTs, newspaper, of course, that is a must. Then classes, attending the classes. Drag your body during the time of the day when the class is going on. Drag your body. Let it come. Place that in that chair. Bear for that 1.5 hours or 2 hours. Bear the lecture. That itself is half the hour one. Because that's the most difficult part. Dragging your bodies and placing them in those cushions. So attend classes. Finish classes. Write class notes. And these apply for every module, and particularly for my economy module. So it appears, because what goes while explaining is more than what appears on the slides. And most of the times questions, the interconnected questions are from the explanations that go on. And not everything that comes out of the teacher's mouth can be put on a slide, because there will be improvisation. There will be too many factors that come in while, talking. If you ask me to take that same session, I'm sure half of the session will be in a different way. Why? Because there will be improvisation, which happens on the time, at the time, during the sessions. So prepare notes, your hand prepared notes always. There is no replacement for that. So class, attending classes, class notes, and this is what you have to do. And yes, there is budget and there is economic survey. Don't worry about these things too much, because hardly You will do that at the end of the course. Whenever you start your course, you will do it at the end of the course. So don't focus on the economic survey and budget right away. And finally, yes, schemes, reports. Again, these two are not something you have to do. So you don't have to go and read any report, or you don't have to just look at the scheme, the operational aspect of the scheme. Rather, you need to have a broad idea, generalistic idea of a report or a scheme. So don't do this work of going downloading a report and reading it completely. That's not required. These first four things are completely in your hands. And these four things are what will apply for all the dynamic modules, not just for economy module. There are dynamic modules in this examination, right? Polity is dynamic, economy is dynamic. So first thing, I expect you guys to, how many of you have already bought? I'm sure there will be some energetic students who will buy the previous year books already. See? Good. Srikar, you have downloaded it. Nah, downloads and soft copies won't work. I am a hard copy guy. It's psychologically said, proved also that, like the images will have, doctors, they may tell, the images will have a better impact on your brains than hard copies books. It's okay. As I said, your pocket money can be used for productive purposes. Yeah, I know him from earlier. So anyway, these are the things that you should focus upon. Strategies, yes, it's a pretty simple strategy which everyone knows, but very few people implement. That's the problem with strategies. All of us know about strategies, but very rarely we implement, or we do not implement them on a continuous basis. We implement them for 1 week, we get tired, we take a break for 1 month. Then we come back. We strategize. How to strategize? That's a problem. So do these basic things. Things should be done. And yeah, I'm the person who is saying that yes, you should buy books, buy them, but buy only one book. Buy only one book. Keep the quantity to minimum, but improve the quality. What you need is just one source, and what you require is repetition. Repetition of the same source. Don't go for multiple sources. Your mind is like a baby. Don't overstrain it. Treat the baby with some love and warmth. Your mind is like a baby. Your body is like an animal. There's a difference. Treat the body like the way you treat animal. Don't pamper it. But mind, yes. So keep doing these things. Don't buy too many books. Don't make your study rooms the go-downs of these bookshops. So that guy should not ask you, bring that book, I'll Xerox it and give it back. I'm sure after you spend some time in preparation, that's what it will happen. Your study rooms will become go-downs of these shops, bookshops in Ashok Nagar. Because he won't have those books, you will have them like in your study shelf. He will ask you, bring that book, I'll take a Xerox because he has to sell it. Yeah, so do's. Let's enter into the final stage of the session. Do's and don'ts for this module. Just go through them. More or less, we have covered most of them. Syllabus copy, yes. Placing the topic in syllabus. Understanding the terms. As I said, keywords. Understanding the keywords is important. And I was saying at the start of the session, I said that don't rely on these current affairs magazines of 1 or 2 institutes. The problem is, newspaper gives you the familiarity and exposure to these keywords. Today, there might be one new keyword which comes. Keywords are nothing but the concepts, economics concepts, which will be mainstreamed slowly. For example, inflation. How many of you have really used the word inflation before? Before coming into the examination, we don't use inflation. Rather, what will we use? Price rise. We'll only use the word rates have increased so much. Mehengai, mehengai, badgai. But you don't use the word inflation. Inflation is a technical term, a keyword which will be familiarized by newspapers. And newspapers, they keep on continuously using the same keywords. That's how your mind gets acclimatized, accustomed to the key terms. If you are picking up a newspaper, the current affairs magazine, he will just concisely provide all the data that's relevant for inflation under one heading. That's it, a small box in one page. That familiarity with the terms and the concept is difficult to achieve if you are sourcing your current affairs from these magazines. Rather, I'm not saying that you should stop reading magazines. Start with newspapers, read newspapers religiously every day, then supplement it with these current affairs magazines at the end of the month. Because what they do is they just organized this disorganized data of the newspaper and put under one heading. So it should only supplement you. It should not be your source of information. And given the dynamic nature of the examination year on year, that's going to help you lesser and lesser. Relying on one current affairs magazine. So use it as only a supplementing source, not the primary source of information. Then, so understanding terms, budget, fiscal policy, monetary policy, everything. Then, yes, as I said, classes and class discussions, newspaper readings, notes making, revise, 3R principle. Your RRR is something else. Revise. And of course, previous year questions. Whenever you are having those, you will also have some don'ts. First, take out that economy is difficult and there is no way I can answer economy questions. So I'll just leave the question. Sometimes, unfortunately, the minute you open the question paper, first question will be from economics like this year. One of the sets, first question was economy. This was in fact the first question that I've picked up, that financing tool, that IMF question. It was the first question in the paper also. If you have a fear of the subject, imagine your psychological situation. So first remove the fear. It's not going to eat you. And I don't know how many of you read, but Friedrich Nietzsche, he gave a famous quote. If something is not killing you, if something doesn't kill you, it will make you stronger. So it won't kill you, trust me. So remove the fear about the subject, remove the fear about the examination. Then second, I'm not asking you to trust me, but trust one person. If you know that the other person knows something, whoever it might be, it can be your cousin, your brother, your senior, someone who is aware of the examination. And do not have multiple people who are guiding you. They'll pull you in different directions and you won't go anywhere. So whoever it might be, trust that person. And I know, yes, trust takes some time. It's the same with the relations that you have and the relationship of this examination as well. Trust takes some time to build. So give that time, but trust in one person, your mentor, whoever you are choosing that, okay? But I prefer that it should be me. Yes, Trigger? Anyways, ask questions. Questions. The best way to learn about anything, any new topic or new content is to ask more and more questions. Who was that? Like who said, I will be quoting a lot. So who said that? If you ask a question, you are a fool for that day. If you do not ask a question, you are a fool for the entire time. So you are a fool for all the time. If you ask a question, you ask a doubt, you are a fool at that point of time. If you do not ask a question, you are a fool for all the time, for the rest of the time. Meaning, you should ask questions. Because from the educational setup that we come up, asking questions is not encouraged. So most of the times we have that inhibitions, we have those inhibitions, about asking. So anyway, anywhere, wherever you go, whichever the module it will be, ask questions. If you can't ask it directly, every teacher, every instructor will be available after the class. So make an appointment, ask them, ask questions. If you're not discussing particularly subject like economy, you can learn about economy more more in the during the off-class discussions rather than on-class discussions. So ask questions. Then, yeah, don't rush things. Don't rush things. There is a pace at which things, meaning don't try to, like, see, your brain is like this. Your brain is like this. The problem with our brains is, yeah, it's okay. So your brain is like this. The problem with the brain is the opening is like this. The opening is like this. Meaning you can't take a bigger tumbler and dump everything inside this. Even if you try to just rush everything and pour it inside the brain, only a few will come and settle down here. The rest will just overflow. Rather, what you need a filler, ink filler, or some kind of smaller instrument, and do it daily with patience. Everything settles down. So don't think that you can finish the entire module within 1 week. Hey, it takes 2 months, 3 months. I can finish in 1 week, done. It's not possible. So don't rush things. Then stick to one source. As I said, stick to one source and just keep repeating that one source. Finally, don't ignore economy as it seems difficult. Don't be lazy. All said and done. You have to work from your side. You have to push the teacher that extra mile. Always remember that. If you are being a passive recipient, you won't get that from the instructors, from the mentors. You should always challenge them. Remember that. So you have to push them. It's like, like the teacher should be like, oh, no, man, these guys, they'll ask too many questions. So I have to like read a bit more. So do that. Meaning you have to work from your side. All said and done. It's the same classroom. There are around 50 to 60 people who listen to the same source. But the way we understand, the way we present changes. That's because of the additional effort that people put in. Particularly, that applies to these competitive examinations. Competitive examinations are always relative. It's not about whether you have scored 99. It's about whether the other guy has scored 100 or not. If he has scored 100, your 99 is equal to 0. There's only one vacancy. If you have scored 99, you can't pat yourself saying that, hey, I tried so much. See, I got 99. Just 1 mark. Next year I will do. Your 99 is equal to 0. Remember that. If the cutoff is 99, your 99 is equal to 0. You are as good as the person who has scored 0. That's the nature of the examination. Competitive exams are like that. They are different from academic examinations, where it's individualistic, not relative. And that edge, that 1 mark edge, is when you put one extra effort, 1 extra hour of effort compared to the next guy to you. And finally, don't ignore economy, weightage, and all that is fine. And that's where we'll end our discussion. I hope you have got a fair idea of what to read and what not to read, how economy should be approached. And trust me, those 5 topics are your syllabus. I have discussed the syllabus. Some of you might be thinking, hey, where are the key terms? There are these, there's. You don't require the key terms in this session. Okay? You need the broad idea of the subject in this session. And I'm sure that you have got it. Okay? Did you get the idea, fair idea of the subject? Particularly those of you who have never encountered economy or anything. So, and finally, the final words. It's a marathon. Remember that. This examination preparation is a marathon. It's not a sprint. I'm sure you know the difference between sprint and a marathon. Sprint is like 100 meters, 200 meters, just start, run, finish. Your overnight preparations of your academic bachelor's examinations are sprints. You can clear that examination by sprinting, but you can't clear this examination by sprinting. The same thing, I'm just rephrasing, don't rush things. Because this is a marathon. Even if you are able to make 1 meter of progress on that 1 day, that's enough. You don't have to go 100 meters on 1 single day. But your progress should be cumulative. It should be like, so any questions? And last one, I did not put it here, but be selfish in this, for this examination. Be selfish in your preparation. Meaning, don't be that most lovable, affable person. Wow, that person is so good. He shares all of his notes. He's a very good guy. No one, or they'll only say that you are good and affable and loving person. Other than that, they won't give you anything else. They won't give you a crown to put on your head. So pick your friends wisely in this preparation. Your friends will make you or break you in this preparation. When I said be selfish in the kind of friends that you are picking for this preparation. This is a personal suggestion where you won't read it anywhere, I'm sure. But make a group of, what is that? 2 is a party, 3 is a crowd. But for this examination, 3 is a party, 4 is a crowd. So if it's a group of 3 people, it's good. And when I say that don't be selfish, don't be a parasite as well. Just, taking others' notes and not sharing anything. You should be giving and taking. So choose your friends properly because it aids. If you're picking the right friend, those discussions, the kind of inputs that they can, all 3 or 4 of you can give each other will enhance the quality of debates. And it will also enhance your subject knowledge as well. So that's one thing you have to remember. It's okay. Be selfish for 1.5 to 2 years. Then go back to your usual self of, what is it? Giving away your heart. Heart, muscle, blood, everything. Okay, so we'll stop there. I hope it was a productive session, useful session. Any questions? I'll take questions now. Both online and offline, guys. If there are no questions, then I am the person who always believed that nothing went into the brains. I'm not a person who thinks that everything, like I have made myself so crystal clear that there are no questions. So any question, give me one question at least. That's what I said. Ask questions, ask doubts. First thing that you should do. But standard books. See, pick any one standard book. Yeah, that's a good question. I was waiting for that question, but any book is good. There is no one specific book that I will suggest because the book which I suggest, you might not make any sense out of it. But it does not matter. Pick one textbook, any book, read 1 or 2 chapters and close the book. Try to recollect the topic. A small topic. Try to recollect the topic. If you are able to recollect it and explain it to someone next to you, it is a good book. Because if I give you one particular kind of book, then you might not understand it. Then you might be like, like I have to understand from the same book. There's nothing like that. Every book is a decent book. So pick a decent book, which says Indian economy or anything. Economy of India or Indian economy or anything is the same. So, but if you are coming to the classes, if you have the class notes and the PPTs supplemented with the newspaper, that's enough. That's enough. You don't need any book because most of the books, particularly when it comes to economics, they won't make sense. It's difficult to understand them. Or at least wait for the class discussions, then you can read the book. Because if you start reading, it's unlike other subjects. It's unlike other subjects because of the keywords that are involved. That's the problem. So there will be too many keywords which they'll use. See, they can simply say price rise. But why are they not saying price rise? Why are they using the word inflation? They can simply say the word prices have decreased. They won't say that. They'll say deflation. It's a deflationary environment posing macroeconomic risks. So don't worry about the book. Pick any book. Okay. Any other questions? Rupa? Yeah, that's again a good question about newspaper reading. There are 2 ways to approach it. Okay. First thing is don't start newspaper reading as of now. Wait for the subject to start. Once the subject has started, then you can go ahead with the newspaper reading, particularly when it comes to economy. Or the second approach to this is, if you want to do the newspaper, first finish at least until class 10 NCERT textbooks. So finish class 10 NCERT textbooks, then go for newspapers, then it will make sense. It will first should make sense. So either way, it's okay. You won't lose much if you wait until the classes have started. Or first start reading. You can start from 6th standard onwards. You can finish 6th in one day. So 6th, 7th, 8th, they just say the same thing in different language, in different words. So the real content starts from 9th and 10th. So finish those textbooks, then go for newspaper. I'm sure you can understand, 3/4 of the articles, economy articles of newspaper. So try doing that. Then placing content is difficult. Answer writing is difficult to me. Okay, let me just read the questions, then I'll answer. Placing content is difficult. Answer writing is difficult. So how much does it help to have a friend who is also preparing? Good question. Placing content is difficult. Yeah, as I said, placing content, you first need to know about the topics. It is not something which you can get overnight or you will get right away. So rather wait for some time. Okay, wait for 1 month after the classes have started. So then you will be able to place the topics. Then second, answer writing is difficult. Who is this? Mamata. Why are you attempting answer writing already? I don't know. I don't know if you have already finished your classes. Okay, if you have already finished your classes, I can answer that question. But since this is an orientation session and since we have people, I have prepared this presentation for people who have never experienced or never encountered economy. So I don't want to answer that question because it will be intimidating for others. But listen to the classes. You first need to read something, to write something. If you haven't read anything, what will you write? For me also, it will be very difficult to write. So read something. Before reading, let the classes start, or you can start reading. There's nothing wrong in it. So start any one particular topic. But wait for answer writing. Answer writing, you can't do it. I ask that you should wait at least for 1 month, at least 1 or 2 chapters to be finished for you to start answer writing. You can start, but don't get discouraged that my answers are very bad. Of course, they will be bad. So don't write but after writing, it will be very difficult to not think about the answers. So rather than that, wait. Let the classes at least, 10, 15 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks classes, let them finish. Then you'll have a fair idea of the terms and what is being asked. If you have already finished your classes, I'm sure you won't be here in this session. Friend, it does. It simplifies having a friend in preparation who is also preparing. See, if you are a person who work alone, you don't have to worry about the friends. It's fine. I'm not saying that you should make friendships. Don't do that. But at times, friends are good. So it will help. If you ask me personally, it helps to have a good friend in this preparation who is also preparing. How much means it can't be quantified, right? So it's from person to person. So it is a qualitative factor. So we can't quantify it just like national incomes. All right then. So we'll stop it there. Right. Best of luck for all of you. And I hope to see as many faces as possible from this group here. Instead of daily news, can we prefer monthly magazine? Didn't I answer that part? Instead of daily news, the question was, instead of daily news, can we prefer monthly magazine? I don't know if you have missed that part where I have discussed that already, Rohit, but I have addressed that question. And what's the answer? No. So the answer is no. So if you have just missed it, just replay it. Okay? Yeah. Thank you, Sphuran Reddy. Yeah, thanks.
So I won't be taking too much time. I will try to explain to you how to prepare for ethics. First of all, for be it ethics or any GS, syllabus is the key, is the foundation upon which we have to build our knowledge, our preparation, everything. So if we look at the syllabus, we have, overall around 8 topics. We have ethics, human interference, we have attitude, we have aptitude, emotional intelligence, moral thinkers, then public service values and ethics and pub and probity in governance and case studies based on all the topics which have been discussed recently. After that, now we have to identify the sources. After syllabus, we have to identify the sources. We can have one standard book, which can be anyone. Currently, I prefer DK Balaji sir's book, which is available in the market. Apart from that, you have Vishnu sir's notes as well and the class notes as well. So at the end, ensure that you have one standard book and the class notes which you are, undertaking for your understanding. After that, we have to zero in. We have to compile all the notes whichever we have. Since we discussed the syllabus which we had, for that we have to bring in, one line definition, one line answer. What all the subheadings are. Try to write. Have concise notes. From the standard books, from your class notes, whatever the sources you have, try to bring it in a single paper so that it will be helpful for your last revision. And then we have to come back to previous year questions now. Why previous year questions? Previous year questions, if you see, 95% of the questions revolve around the topics which have been given in the syllabus. And within the syllabus, if you see, we have so many subheadings within that. For example, in probity and governance, many people think, we have to make notes in probity. Generally, they just make notes of probity. But within the probity and governance, we have several dimensions. For example, we have codes of conduct, codes of ethics, we have citizen charter, we have work culture, we have quality of service delivery, etc. So ensure that for each and every minute headings at the granular level, you have notes ready. Whatever the class notes, whatever the standard books, whatever content is there, just try to synthesize it and put it in a single piece of paper for your revision. Now, when I say notes, just ensure that there are two types of notes. One note is the elaborate notes. For every minute subheadings, have one note. After that, try to have short notes. In the short notes, what it will be comprising of is like, if you have topic like integrity, we have probity like this, just have two-line definition. After that, as I was saying, why to have short notes? Because in short notes, why we need short notes is before exam, we just have like limited days, and especially in the last 1 week before the exam, we'll be focusing more on optional, on GS revision, everything. So what is the use of short notes is, it will be helpful in last minute revision, especially in the last, the last 1 week. And also during the breaks, yes, where I left at the notes and short notes. Along with the notes, ensure the short notes. We discussed recently what are the important ingredients in the short notes. So notes are the elaborate one, and short notes are just a concise and crisp. Synthesis of your bigger notes. After that, we have another one good source is the topos copies. Topos copies if you are reading through multiple, because I have gone through multiple topos copy, because every time we can't go and search for multiple content. In topos copies, you can easily pick examples, you can easily pick introductions, you can easily take so many of diagrams, everything. Just see how the way they are structuring their answers. And then generally students, they are in a hurry. Even within starting the ethics preparation, they are in a hurry to write the answers. But that is like not the right way, because first of all, try to accumulate the knowledge, which knowledge in ethics. Then you try to write the answers. Don't be in a hurry to start answer writing. Don't be in a hurry to value add, because until and unless you don't build your foundation, it will be very difficult for you to write properly. Then what sort of examples? Because usually we have so much of materials in the market, we have so many books which we get so many examples. But apart from that, try to give a personal touch. In your life, over a period of 20 years, you would have come across several incidents which you would have demonstrated various ethical values in your personal life. Try to give a personal touch to the answers as well. Apart from that, as previous session was focused on newspaper reading. If you see in the 2-3 months itself, you would have come across several examples. So just in the short note which I discussed, just try to keep on enriching your content by taking whatever the examples you get it from the newspaper. So just try to keep it concise and everything, put it in a single piece of paper, so it will be helpful in last minute revision. Don't keep it in a haphazard manner, so that you are not able to revise at the end. Then when we have accumulated all the sources, when we have accumulated, we have read elaborately the standard books, the class notes, the value-added things, everything now comes a part of your answer writing. In the answer writing, one has to focus on how to structure your answer. It is like a GS, it is like other paper, but in ethics, if you are able to understand how to structure your answer, you will be able to score wonderfully. So whatever the questions are, they will be giving, I mean, comparing to, for example, in 2022 or 2021, they have asked one question, how conscience helps in resolving crisis for a public servant. So there itself, they have given you the keywords to write answer. So ensure that you are trying to define both the points which they have given the question, then try to establish a connecting and linking statement between both the points. After that, you just first of all give up, I mean, what are the points, what are the questions they are demanding, just try to write 5-6 points. But along with the points, there this is the place where you can make the difference, because here for every point, try to bring in one example, try to bring in some different dimensions to the example, I mean to the points. Try to draw a diagram. So these are the brownie points which you can do here. And then generally people think that if you are trying to address the question, your answer is complete, but it is not the way, because ethics is a relative concept. Whatever is ethical for me, it won't be ethical for you. So try to, whatever the, I mean, points they have asked in the question, along with it, try to counter the topic as well. Then it gives a balanced standpoint of view for you. And then in the conclusion is very key. I mean, it's one of the key point. In conclusion, take a balanced stand. Just try to say what will, I mean, what way it will be. I mean, you will be giving some suggestions, or how you will be resolving the deadlock, how you will be coming out of the ethical dilemma. So depending upon the question, try to come up with a balanced and a positive conclusion. That way, your answer should be good. Then many people think that I'm not able to write good ethics answer. I would say never ever complain, take actions. That is the thing. Because there are people who, without practicing, they are able to write good answers in ethics. But it differs from people to people. For personally, I am a little bit good at writing, but for ethics, I was struggling a little bit. So, I mean, post prelims, especially post prelims who are writing, appearing for mains, they can practice ethics answer writing every day. But who are in the preparatory phase, they can do one question per day, or like if per weekly they can join some test series, ethics test series. I mean, for practice. So this way, they can ensure that they are able to write proper answers in the ethics. But from that, we have some sources. I mean, what are the previous years we have? There are some good sources. For example, Smita ma'am for of Fusion, she comes up with the model answers for the UPSC questions every year. If you see the questions, you will understand. If you see the answer structure, you will understand in what way the ethics answer has to be written properly. So there are multiple sources. Don't be afraid that ethics it looks different vague. It is like, because it is just a written personality test. It is nothing. I mean, you just have to write everything you know about ethics. You just have to write, put it in the papers. You just have to work on presenting your viewpoints in a lucid, in a brief, and in a concise way. That is. So ensure that you are. Gathering multiple sources. Ensure that you are seeing multiple answers. Ensure that you are having enriched, content to put it in your paper. Apart from that, one of the key is share your papers. Give it for evaluation. The constructive criticism, the constructive feedback which they give is of value. Is one of the important sources based on which you can improve your scores. After that, we have the case studies. The case studies are nothing; they are just based on the values. They are based on the content which I have discussed in the above things. In the case study, try to write in such a way, because it's like 3-4 pages. Generally, students tend to write in paragraphs, but that is not the way, because case study the evaluator will be fed up. It will be monotonous to read the entire 3 pages, because there are 5-6 case studies. So try to bring it break it down into headings and subheadings. Try to bring in diagrams, highlight the important key points. You don't have to, use different color pen. Just the normal pen, you can just highlight it. That would suffice. That would highlight your answers. That should be highlighting your key points as well. And also in the case studies, try to ensure that you are writing the values. Because if you want to say about integrity, if you want to say about probability, whatever it is, just ensure that the value has been mentioned in your answer point, and it has been highlighted appropriately. because then only the evaluator will understand that you understand that what is the case study is about, what are the values we are looking into the case study. Everything is crystal clear. And then we have another one important source is second ARC. Generally, people think second ARC is not needed, but second ARC, there are few chapters on public services which can be read. But I would suggest there is no need to read the original ARC. We have several summaries, especially GS Core, Vishnu Ias, we have so many materials. You could look into that second ARC report as well. So, I mean, whatever is related to ethics, you could just look into that and make short notes out of that. So when you mention in your ethics that as per second ARC something is there, they also understand that you have read something. They have put in some extra effort. So it also acts as a value addition to your notes. And there is a huge dilemma related to online notes or handwritten notes. Because me personally, I'm a physical hard copy person. Because I believe this exam is a pen and paper exam. The more you are able to write, the more you are able to digest, the more you are able to reproduce in your paper. So try to make notes. I mean, whatever the books you have, around 200, 300 pages of books you have, try to make handwritten notes as per your needs, as per your understanding. There is no, I mean, generally people say that toppers are making 2 pages note, 3 pages note, he's making so and so note. So don't be bogged down by this, I mean, these kind of facts. So at the end, you have to write your answer, you have to write your exam. Ensure that whatever you are making, it is understandable to you. So it doesn't mean that you have to make a note for 100 pages. So ensure that in 30 pages, 40 pages, 50 pages, whatever you are able to make, you are able to understand that. And then if you are comfortable with making online notes, because in online notes you can easily update. I mean, you can update, you can rewrite everything you can do. But in handwritten, it will be difficult. But it differs from person to person. So ensure that whichever approach is favorable for you, you do follow that. And also apart from that, ethics, we know that most of the questions are coming within the syllabus. I mean, because when you look at the syllabus, it looks very simple. It is just very, I mean, hardly 7, 8 topics are given. But ensure that nowadays, if you see the previous year papers, especially there, this is where the previous year are holding very important place. You will see there is an interdisciplinary way of asking questions. For example, 2020, they are asking about NEP in ethics paper. So those kind of questions, when you see, it looks like it's a GS1, but it is the ethical. I mean, it's from the ethical perspective you have to write. So be ready for that as well. When you will be ready for that, when you have broader knowledge, broader understanding of every topic. So while preparing now, also you have 1 year time. So try to broaden your knowledge horizon. Read the standard books, class notes properly. Then you try to make your own notes. Then you try to go for valuation. It's a systematic process. Just go from the base, try to build the foundation. Then you try to build the superstructure. And at the same time ensure that, I mean, there is an important chapter known as moral thinkers, which I left. So moral thinkers, philosophers, we have an important chapter. This chapter is not only helpful for your ethics, because every year there is some code based or some answer related to one or the other philosopher or thinker. This is also helpful in your essay answers. I mean, in essay, you could quote the thinkers, you could quote various ethical thinkers. There, okay, for example, Thomas Hobbes. You can quote also about social contract theory, especially in philosophical essays. So in that way, also ethics is very helpful. So don't neglect that moral thinkers and philosophers. Even in your, I mean, in your ethical answers, you need to mention these kind of philosophies. You need to mention these thinkers so that people understand that. I mean, people understand that the way of answer we have written has some ethical touch to it. That is the thing. And also identify which are the topics which are, I mean, rewarding, because it's not, when we are saying that around 8 topics are there, I mean, there are few topics. For example, emotional intelligence questions are every year repeating from that topic. Then there is probability. Every year you will find 1 or 2 questions. Then there is a topic known as attitude. I mean, there are questions repeating from that. So identify the core things which are, being repeated. So that, topics try to focus on more, because the questions are coming sure. It will be very helpful, and it will be easy for you to write in the exams and also score more. And while writing answers, one thing I totally forgot is try to ensure that you are trying to think from your perspective. It is not like other GS papers which you have to be more academical. This paper can be little, it's like a written, as I said, it's a little personal interview. ensure that you are writing as per your understanding. And along with it, ensure that you are adding ethics. I mean to say, it is a balance between your academics and your thinking also. So, try to ensure that you are maintaining a harmonious balance between both the thinking and you are trying to write, because it shows originality in your answers. Because ethics is like a miniature version of an essay. So if you in an essay, how we demand original thinking. In ethics also, people expect original thinking. What is your perspective on that? Because ethics is a relative concept. There is no hard and fast rule that what is ethics, what is ethical like. Because what is ethical to me is not ethical for other person. So it is very relative. So try to maintain a balance. Try to bring in both the perspective, your perspective as well as the book's perspective to your answer. And there is one more important point. There are multiple sources for your ethics. I mean to say, in the market now there is a huge saturation, especially in terms of sources. So just stick to one book and the class notes, more than enough, because it is more about practice. Ethics over a period of time, when you practice more, you will find it's very easy. It's very you are able to write properly. Because if you are trying to run behind multiple sources, at the end you won't be able to understand the nuances of ethics. You won't be able to have a proper notes, everything. You just stick to two things: your class notes and your standard books, or even we have some institute materials, like even Vishnu's materials are there. Even we have Forum IS Red Book, that also is very comprehensive book. So these are some common materials which everyone uses. So the real game changer, the difference is in your value addition. So try to enrich your content, because content remains same. Everyone has to write within the 2 pages. Everyone is able to write that. But where you can make difference is the content enrichment, especially in terms of examples, in terms of diagrams, and then the quotation. Quotation, it's not like essay that you have to overdo it, just one appropriate quotation. You should not be doing it unnaturally. Everything has to come in the flow. So ensure that it has been put in appropriate places. And in the short notes, ensure that the whatever the topics, you are trying to bring in the short notes, for integrity or probability or emotional intelligence, have a standard definition. Just repeat it over a period of time. Because of repetition, you will be able to, replicate the exact definition, exact example, exact diagram. Because I know many friends who used to do it as a ritual. Before going to bed, they used to read all the quotations and just reread it over a period of 1 month. They mastered the quotations, because as a previous session said, it's not a sprint; it has to be a marathon. So over a period of time, if you're doing it, it will be easy to. So it won't be a burden for you in remembering the quotations and the examples. So you have to do it in a systematic, in a slower way, and in a organized way. And also see how the questions are evolving. As I said, previous year questions, nowadays if you see, the questions are moving towards more application oriented. It's not, nowadays the questions are not coming like what is A. Now the question is coming like what is the relation of A with B. So the both the two topics within the syllabus, they are trying to as a linking and interrelationship between both the topics. So be ready for the questions as well. So when you, the key things is now make your notes ready. Have, go focus on content enrichment. The content enrichment doesn't happen in a day. Over a period of time, collect from multiple sources, your model answers, your newspaper, your standard books. So work on that. Then after a month or 2 months into the process, now try to start writing your answers. Then in answers, you try to get it evaluated, get the feedback for your answers, and see where do you stand, how to improve. So take away every criticism with a pinch of salt. So ensure that you are progressing in a right direction. Then try to see and emulate the toppers copies as well. That is one of the wonderful sources for your value addition, the content enrichment, everything. And then last but not the least, ensure that you are writing some test series, because in the 3 hours, the brain has to think. It's not GS paper where it's like a monotonous way. You are just dumping some facts, you are writing something. In ethics, you have to think a lot. In case studies, you have to think a lot. You have to come up with innovative solutions. You have to reproduce all their answers. Examples, every value-added content which you have read. And last but not the least, please ensure that your notes are, ready, and the sources of your notes are not multiple, are very limited. Ensure that, because now the market is saturated with multiple material. You just need to go two or one good sources, more than enough for your ethics. The game changer is more practice and more value-added content for your answers. That is it. So now, if you have any doubts, please do ask me. One person has asked how to prepare for the case studies. You see, the case study is a real life some problems. It is just some real life problems which you are supposed to give solutions to it. So look at the case study from that perspective. How will you react from that if you are in that situation? First, try to come up with a realistic and pragmatic solution. It doesn't mean that you have to come up with some unrealistic and artificial artificial solution. Case studies. First of all, before starting writing, just break down the case studies. First, identify who are the stakeholders. Then see what are the events and incidents involved within the case studies. Then you try to see what are the values at conflict with respect to the events, with respect to the stakeholders. Then you try to see whether they are in alignment with our constitutional values, our ethical values, or moral values. Then, once you have deciphered this entire box of content, so what are the values, what are the incidents, what are the stakeholders, and whether they are in alignment with our constitution and other moral values. Then now you try to sit down and try to write a case study. In case study, generally the problem is many people write appropriately, but they are not able to highlight what they are trying to say. They are not able to keep it very short and crisp. People tend to write 3 pages, but it doesn't help in getting more marks. You have to give it subheadings. For example, there is Lukman's ethics model answers that is available in the Telegram. You can look into that, how they are deciphering the entire case study. In every case study, they are trying to bring that, come up with a solution under 5, 6 subheadings. So when you are able to replicate that, the evaluator will be able to understand that you have analyzed that case study from multiple dimensions and you are able to arrive at a solution which is very feasible, which is very practical, and also try to try to bring in some GS content into your case study as well. For example, GS to some, for example, we have some POXO cases or sexual harassment cases. Try to bring in some Supreme Court judgments. Try to bring in some real life examples. There also try to bring in, try to value add your case studies. Try to value add some examples. You don't have to do diagrams, but examples and the facts and real life examples will value add to your case studies. And also focus more on conclusion. The conclusion has to summarize entire thing. Many people they discuss multiple options, but towards the end they neglect concluding your case study. That should not be done because the case study has to be concluded. Ensure that you are concluding your case study in appropriate way and on a positive way. That is it. Generally, in civil service, people think that preparation starts with the prelims, but it is not the way. It has to be done in a reverse way. Reverse way, I mean, you have to start with your optional. You have to start with your mains GS preparation. That is the way it should be done. Prelims is just a qualifying paper. Now try to focus more on your optional. Try to focus more on your GS content building because ethics, optional, essay. These are the 3 things which can save you. Because if you see the mark sheet, GS doesn't make a huge difference. It is just a matter of 30 marks, 40 marks. But in ethics, essay, and optional, you can make a huge difference. So try to focus. The earlier you start, more easier it would be towards the end. Because from January, everyone will be in a rush to start prelims preparation. So if you are early bird, it's well and good. So try to now itself take it in a slower pace because now you try to focus more on GS and optional preparation. But little bit time you give, over a period of 2 months, you will be able to cover most of the syllabus because it's a very small syllabus. So you can start it now also. So that's not an issue. You just have to ensure that you are having notes, you are able to cover the entire syllabus. That is the main focus. See, for GS or optional or ethics, whatever the thing is, unless and until you don't test yourself, you don't know where do you stand in the competition. There is there is a very tight competition. So the test series are are the standard metrics for evaluating where do you stand. Test series are must, but right now don't try to rush through it because it will undermine your confidence. Until and unless you are not, you are not prepared your notes, you are not study every syllabus. Everything which is given in a syllabus. Don't try to rush and don't try to write any join in test series. Once you're done, you can obviously join some test series and see. Where do you stand? Because based on the test series, you will be able to improve yourself as well. Because based over a period of time, you will see that there is a gradual improvement. Ensure that you are taking all the criticism in a positive way. Ensure that you are incorporating all the suggestions which they have given. So it is I mean, over a period of time. Now, right now, it's not appropriate to check. When you have started preparation, I mean, over a 1 month or 2 months time, you can obviously join it. You see, I said there are multiple sources, but I can't pinpoint any sources, for example, because there are multiple good books. Lukman is also a very good book. We have D.K. Balaji sir as well. Even now, recent we have Avdesh Singh's sir's IRS sir books as well. So stick to any one book. Every book is equally good. Every book is has covered the syllabus in a detailed way. So try to ensure that you have only one book. Don't run after multiple books. That is the thing I would say. Lukman book also is good. So if you I mean, just go through it. If you are able to understand it, please go ahead and make notes out of it. That is the thing. So someone has asked about how to, I mean, a brief thing about how to write a present and answer. So if you see any question, I mean, you would see they itself have given they picked up some values from our syllabus. For example, I mean, as I said, the concept, how it helps in resolving dilemmas in public service. So there itself they are given two key points, the consent and the public service. So just try to write a single line, one line about what is importance of consent in public service or something. Then try to define what is consent, what is public service. Then establish, I mean, write a linking statement. I mean, what is the relation between both the things? The linking statement can be the first line or first point or the last point of the definition as well. Then, whatever the stand is which the question is demanding, just try to write and justify that stand. So try to keep it brief. And then, since I said ethics is relative, try to counter the pointers which is given in the question. So when they are asking, conscience helps in resolving ethical dilemma, you can counter it, but that every time conscience doesn't help in resolving your ethical dilemma. So that way you are able to introduction, main paragraph, then counter to it, then conclude it. Conclusion you have to keep it. You have to keep it very optimistic. You have to keep it. I mean, it has to stick to the original demand of the answer. So that way it should give you a balanced answer in ethics. One person has asked about philosophical statement questions in ethics. You see, when they are asking about philosophical, ensure this is one of the important point. Whenever they are asking about philosophical point in philosophy, whatever the question is, there. I mean, one underlying values which has been taken from the syllabus will be linked. So identify that what is the value underlying. I mean, they are trying to bring up in that code. Generally, some values related to integrity, some related to honesty, or some related to probity, or something related to. And this time there was this question on inner revolution or inner engineering. So what it shows emotional intelligence. So every philosophical question will be somehow directly or indirectly related, linked to our topic. So identify the topic that itself will hit the bullseye. So identify that. So take some time and identify that topic. Then try to, write your answer. That is the way forward for your philosophical answer. My source was Red Book of Forum IS. They have this Red Book for ethics. In that book, they have covered every topic in a vast manner. But in that, they have given quotations as well that you can easily incorporate in your answers. And a few examples they have mentioned. But for examples, only one has to work a lot because multiple sources come up with different examples. So one can be the source material and try to ensure that you are incorporating all the examples, whichever you read, come across in your newspapers in a single piece of paper, and try to revise it multiple times so that you are able to reproduce exactly the same way in the answer. So forum wise is also good, or the Red Book is also good material because my friend, we have prepared from that. So that also you can prefer. So every material is good. You just ensure that you are reading every material in a proper and systematic way. That is the thing.
Thank you, Satish.
Thank you, sir.
So it's a very great insights from Satish. Thank you, Satish. After this, I will be calling you.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Why we have to listen to the rankers? Why? Because they did hard work 2 years back, 3 years back. So why we want? Why? Because again, we will be having Devesh Chaturvedi, we will be having Shivaraman. So our part of the academy students, these are. So why, sir? Why? What is the requirement? Is for motivation. This exam requires motivation, a consistent motivation. Because no one want to sit for 10 hours, no one want to sit for 11 hours, no one want to open the books and sit the reading rooms where everyone is enjoying some other places, Saturday and Sunday, going to functions, wearing new dresses, night pant, you people are wearing night pant and going. Means for that thing, you need to have consistency. For that, you want motivation. For that, you want strong desire. Yes, for me also, for me also, in 2009, one person was been there. His name is Kiran, IRS officer. Same like you, I was been sitting in 2008. He also gave a workshop. Means after getting rank, how was his position? How is his life? So I was being motivated, but seeing that workshop, I totally got determined and worked hard. So you should know for what you are reading. You should know if you work this much of hard, what will be the fruits you will be getting later. See, we are calling up them. They are also sharing their success secrets. They are also they are ready to help you all. Means you have to take ethics. These are the points. Ethics from this he read. Okay, so let me check it. Or how the philosophical questions will be there. How to prepare for ethical dilemma question, how to prepare for case study type of question. It worked for him. So in that way, evidence. The ranker is an evidence. So I will also do that. But however, one reality is everyone have their own strategy. Every human being have their own uniqueness. With our uniqueness, we have to prepare our strategy. With our uniqueness, with our model, some people will be reading nights, some people will be reading daytimes. So according to your structure, you have to plan your preparation, but finally, everything should consolidate at examination platform, on the examination paper. That is why this is the thing. So we have a proper insights on economics, we have a proper insights on ethics. Anyhow, ethics, you don't need to worry. I'm declaring everywhere across India, ethics maximum hours, they will take 60 hours. At this place, in this particular academy, we took 90 hours of classes. We also conducted role play. It is there in the YouTube. We also conducted role play. What we did, we took one case study. Everyone, one is a IAS officer, another is a cheater, another is a contractor, another is a judge. Like that, we made a role play, like a drama. Like a role play, we did in real ethical dilemma, how we have to solve the problem. We did it. It is there in the YouTube. Just enter role play of ethics. Academy name, if you enter, you can watch it. Means practicalness is important. When you're talking also, you have to use the words like probity, honesty, integrity. This type of words, you have to use these words, you have to use in the examination, which is called as jargon, ethical jargon, technical jargon. So now what you have to develop means UPSC language you have to go. You have to search for what type of words UPSC will be checking. What type of words the UPSC will be giving marks. Why? Because if those words are there, then only you will get marks. So you have to make one book. You have to make one book for ethics words, for physics, for politics words, polity words, for economic words, for science and technology words. So a book should be there, like a dictionary. Why? Because they will be searching for the jargon. If your option is anthropology or if your option is any option, for that option also there is a jargon. That words you have to use it. In that way, the preparation should go on. Tomorrow you will have a very good session of Rasul sir on history, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Then you will be having Nageshwar Rao sir, who is a retired IAS officer. He will be explaining his experience and how the IAS post will be there. These all things will be discussed by him. 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. will be there, and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. subject will be there. Equally, I am giving importance for subject also. Subject motivation. Both should go hand in hand. So this is all for your continuity, your consistency. We are trying on the same thing we will do till 2023 prelims, 2023 mains as well. Why? Because this batch is targeted batch for 2023 prelims. It's not just a coaching center. If you think it is a coaching center, you are wrong. This is targeted batch for 2023 prelims, for 2023 mains, for which we are committed, and now it's your chance. You should prepare strong and you should also be consistent and you have to work hard. So tomorrow again we will meet at 2 o'clock. Russell sir classes, very interesting classes will be there. How to prepare ancient, medieval, modern, art and culture, world history, he will be explaining. Next class will be directly syllabus. Next economic class will be directly syllabus. My next polity will be directly syllabus. Next history class will be directly syllabus. And day after tomorrow, Thursday, you will be having on geography. How to prepare on geography, how to work out on geography. And Devish Chaturvedi, who got 148 rank, very good rank, 148. He will be also sharing in the same way. He is from Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. Okay. Thank you. All the best.